Thank you, Karen. Okay, Marilyn, Tony, nice to meet you. My name is Tanika Alexander. I work in advising and counseling. That's my actual full-time job. I am part of the implementation team for Starfish and the person who's responsible for training and keeping everyone up to date in what changes have occurred in Starfish. So Starfish is an enterprise platform, meaning it's not really designed for any one specific area of a college. Is designed to create a collaborative environment between faculty, staff, and students. We want to create this environment for students where they have one location where they can go and find what they're looking for in a sort of uniform and easy to navigate area. And Starfish provides that opportunity for that to occur because of how the platform works. So Starfish is more of a show than tell. So I am going to do a demo using Marilyn's account just so you to see what a faculty dashboard would look like. We will start from top down, even though some of you may have seen it before. I'm going to start from your own personal profile and work it all the way into scheduling office hours, taking attendance, and talk about the progress survey a bit. At the end, I am also going to provide you with some resources that you can that can be found in the My CCRI platform under the For Faculty tab. So with that being said, I'm going to share my screen and have you see what the platform looks like.
While you do that, I'm also going to mention that on the ECO website, we've also collected several of the resources that Tanika is going to show you. And I'll share that link in the chat.
Okay, are you able to see my screen?
Not clearly, but yes.
Yeah, it's fuzzy.
Okay, that's weird. Okay, hold on one second. Let me try this again. I don't know why it's being weird. Okay. Is that are you seeing it now?
Yeah, it's still fuzzy.
Still fuzzy.
What's happening? I see that. Okay, let me try.
That's the icon of the Firefox. I'm not sure why it's...
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that, but I'm gonna try to get around this and just choose my entire screen. Maybe that will be better. And then please let me know if you're seeing the Starfish page now.
Yes.
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 That's better? Great, beautiful, thank you. Okay, so when you first log on to Starfish, you will see something very similar to what you're seeing right now. You do have the ability to customize what page you land on for Starfish, but for now, you're probably going to see something like this, or you're going to see a setup wizard. For those people who are new to Starfish and the first time they log on, they get a startup wizard. I do not recommend anyone using the startup wizard to schedule their appointments. Until you get used to Starfish and understand how it works, it's best not to use that function. So once you get here, you're landing on this page for now. As I said, you do have the ability to choose a different landing page that's more convenient to you. So we want to go straight to the hamburger, which is in the top left corner of the screen. That's what the 3 lines are known as, the hamburger. Once you click on it, you're going to see these options here, but we're going to start with the profile. By clicking on your name, it creates another drop-down menu, and we click on institutional profile. This is where you can choose the login page you would like to see when you log on to your Starfish account. I know some faculty members have chosen to go straight to their just their agenda. Some of them go straight to their students, or they go straight to attendance. So whatever makes sense to be your first page to log on to, you can make that your default log on so you get there immediately and you don't have to do too many clicks to get there. So that's really based on preference. This information, your CCRI information, is defaulted. It's already put into the system. You do have the ability to put your office phone number, which is not really relevant given we're working remotely mostly. But when we're back on campus, hopefully soon, you have the ability to put in your office number if you want students to see that in your profile. This is a new feature here in Starfish, which is really, really awesome. It's the ability, if you have office hours and you want to make life easy for your students to find your office hours, you have the ability to copy your calendar link, your appointment link. You can put it into an email and email your class or classes and tell them, if you would like to schedule office hours with me, please click on this link. The link brings them into Starfish and they log in, but they land straight on your appointment page. So they don't have to go and look for you. So that's really nice. So it just gives them one less click to do so. You also have the ability to have this appear in the service tab. We can talk more about that. I don't think it's really important for us to go into that piece right now. You can make your profile a link where it can be shared. Again, I don't think it's really relevant to really for faculty. But if you want to use the link to copy your calendar and send it out to your students so they can schedule Starfish appointments with you, this is a one-stop shop right here. You put up your appointments, you click on the link to copy to your clipboard, you paste it into an email that you want to send out to your entire class. Once they click on the link, they will be challenged for their credentials, which is their CCRI username and password, and they go right onto your profile to schedule an appointment with you. And please, at any moment during this presentation, if you have any questions, feel free to just, click that button to raise your hand, and I'll be happy to hear your questions. The other thing here is just a general overview that you can put that you want students to know about, the office hours, how you can help them. You also have your biography where you can say as little or as much as you want about yourself, whether you like, talk about your educational background, your work experience, any hobbies you want to share, whatever you want to put there, you're welcome to do so to build out your profile. The other thing is you have, every time you change each of these tabs, you must hit submit before moving forward, or else the changes will not save. So if I had made any changes to this page here, I would have to hit submit to save the page before moving forward to the appointment preferences. Since I haven't made any changes, I'm just going to click to move forward. This basic appointment setup here is very important. Each faculty member are going to hold office hours for different duration of time. So if it's 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes per student, you have the ability to set this here so you don't have to constantly change it when you're going in to build your office hours. Another cool feature that you have here, which is underutilized, is creating a scheduling deadline. You don't want students to book appointments with you last minute, right? You may think that you have, a couple of free, maybe 30 minutes free in the next hour. And, just before that time comes around, a student's scheduled to come in and see you. So to avoid that, you can actually say that the student has to schedule an hour before the next appointment. Or if you want to go really deep with this, you can say, a certain time a day before the office hours. So you can actually customize this to stop that sort of last minute booking with you. I find it very useful in advising where students don't book just before my next appointment. So if I have something to do and I don't have anyone if my next appointment, I have the ability to utilize that time to do other work instead of having that last minute appointment. You're not really prepared for it. Location. So locations are important, especially now, to really let students know where will you be holding your office hours. How is it going to be conducted? Are you going to be using Zoom? Are you going to be using WebEx? Are you going to be using MS Teams? Blackboard Collaborate? There's so many options. It's very important that you can create as many locations as your heart desires, okay? So once you click on the plus button for the location, you have the ability to click this drop down here, and it's going to say what type of type of hours are you looking for, and you're looking for online in most cases. You do want to choose, you want to give it a name. Obviously, description is very important. You want to say if you're using Blackboard Collaborate, you can actually put Blackboard Collaborate there for a name. And you can give some instructions down at the bottom here, just saying, and it's going to be specific to the type of appointment you're holding. So for example, if it's Blackboard Collaborate, you could put the name as Blackboard Collaborate, and then your instructions, you can say, please join the room on the day and time of your appointment to have our office hours. You do have the ability in Collaborate to create a separate Collaborate room that's specific to office hours. So they're not going into the same room that they use for class time. There'll be one that, is distinct, meaning that, this is the office hours location. This is where you click to join us. So you could definitely do that for Collaborate. If you're planning to use Zoom, it will require you to probably send out the link to the student once someone has booked an appointment with you. I am trying to look at an option to have it integrated somehow, but that's something that I'm still working on. And the same rule applies if you're using WebEx meetings, or if you're going to be using MS Teams. Once you get that booked appointment and you're notified you have a booked appointment, it's really going to be up to you to send out that link to the student so they can join with you on that day and time. So it's sort of like a two-step process. Whereas if you were to use Collaborate, the students are in your classroom, so they know to go on to Blackboard and go into the Collaborate room to join you. Maybe you have on-campus stuff. You do have the ability to change this from online to office, and you can just give directions, and maybe this is where you say make sure and bring your mask when coming to campus, and just give any instructions that you need at that point. And we can dive down into this much deeper if you're planning to do something like that, and I can spend some one-on-one time with you to help you sort through how to make this information clear to students. So once you add a location, it pops up in here. When you go to schedule your office hours, it actually gives you an option to choose what type of office hours are you planning to hold. So to create a live example of this, I'm going to choose online. And Marilyn, I will delete this. I'm just going to do this for demonstration purposes. To say Zoom. And you can just say you will receive.
Unless Marilyn's got one that she wants you need her to make.
Oh.
Well, I didn't hear that.
What?
Is that unless
Go ahead,
the
Karen.
one that you want her to make for you?
No, no. No. Good question. Let's do phone. I'm just curious about phone. Let's do phone.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, so phone.
And then please, I can't. My screen's everything's very, very tiny on the screen, so I'm having a hard time seeing it. And then to name it, I just I guess just put
You could just say phone call.
personal phone, I guess. But
Okay,
see, I
so
would want them to call me.
Oh, you would want them to call you.
I would want to call them.
Right.
So,
So in your instructions here, you could say, I will call you,
yes.
just so they know that, because you can find the information
Yes.
in Starfish, and you could just say, phone
call or something.
You say
Personal.
phone call.
Yeah, personal phone
You
call.
want to say personal?
Phone call. Phone call's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say we do that and we hit save, so we have that location. I'm just going to add one more because I want to show you the difference when you go to schedule your office hours. So I'm just going to do one for fun and just say Zoom and say, I will send you a link to the meeting. Okay, just to have something, just to have that there. So we have 2 built out. So as I said, because I made a change here, I need to hit submit before I move forward. So
Right.
I hit that. Now that information is saved. Now I'm moving on to the final tab, which is the email notification. So again, very customizable based off of preference. You have the ability to get a reminder for each appointment that you have, where you receive a reminder. Let's say I want a reminder for each appointment I have for my day. I can say when I want to receive that reminder. So we want, let's say you want maybe an early riser. You say I wanted 7 a.m. day of the appointment, and you get a reminder for each person. You could say, you know what, I just want it to be one email with all my appointments, or you could say I don't want any emails at all. Entirely up to you. You also have the ability to say, send me an email 15 minutes before my appointment, so you just get notified who's coming in, why they're coming in. And you can also sync this with your Outlook calendar, so you're only managing one calendar and you don't have to worry about keeping both updated. This is a little bit more in depth, and again, if you want to do this, I would prefer to have a one-on-one with you to really understand what you're looking to do, because there's going to be some work you have to do on the Outlook side in terms of marking your appointments appropriately. What I found was faculty and staff, what they will do is they may have something on their calendar that's really not worthy of blocking off time. It's more of a personal reminder. But how they set it up, it blocks other appointments from being built when it's not really designed for that. So it might be, remind me of someone's birthday, and they have it in their Outlook calendar as a time that is busy time. When it's really not busy time, it's more free time, but a reminder for me personally. And it's blocking other appointments from going in. So if you want to go down this road, I would like to meet with you one-on-one to discuss how to set this up and make sure everything lines up neatly for this to work for you. So I'm not going to make any changes there. I already made the changes to the appointment. We don't have to worry about anything below there. So now that we're finished with the profile piece, are there any questions so far?
None.
No.
Okay. So now let's move into appointments. Okay, so more specifically, office hours for you. So how do you schedule office hours? So let's say for Marilyn, and I'm going to explain to you, see across the top, you have, office hours, appointment, group session, events, reserve time, schedule and visit. And we're really going to live right in these first 3 blocks here. We will talk a little bit about reserve time, but we're going to spend most of our time here. So let's say you wanted to schedule some office hours for students to meet with you. Once you click on office hours, this box comes up. You have the ability to change the title of the office hours. You can literally say, whichever theater class that you're teaching, Marilyn, you could just put that up there. So you have that title to match. You can choose that if this is going to be a weekly occurrence, or is this a once a week sort of thing, or is it like Monday, Wednesday, Friday? These are my office hours for these days, which it's automatically populated here for you. So again, very customizable to meet your needs. So let's go with the weekly, and you get to choose which days you want to have your appointments, your office hours. So you can say, I'm going to do Tuesday and Thursday. And again, these are not gonna save them. Tuesday and Thursday, and you can say, I'm going to set my office hours at 10 in the morning, and I'm going to go to noon, and we have that block. So now you have to decide, what type of office hours am I going to be doing? Is this going to be Zoom? Or is it going to be a personal phone call? Or is it going to be a combination of both, where students can actively choose what they're looking for? Zoom, or are they looking for a phone call? So you can check both of them, or you can just check one. Again, it depends on what you're planning to do. So we can leave them both selected, and we can say that these are going to be scheduled appointments only. And this is a nice way to manage and really manage and guide your time, where students need to schedule so they know the time that they're there and how long is the appointment going to be. And this is where it comes down to how long is the appointment going to be. So you can choose if it's going to be 15 minutes, or you can do 20 minutes, 30, 40, 45, an hour. Again, what you need, just select. So let's say you have 20-minute appointments. And one of the key things I want to make sure that everyone picks up from this piece here is to make sure and put an end date. If you do not choose an end date for your appointments, it will go on forever and ever. So make sure and choose an end date. So let's say, Marilyn, you had decided that you want to start these office hours next week, so the 21st, and you're only going to have office hours for the end of that week. So Friday, you want it to end on Friday. You want to choose on date. The end of term has not been defined in the system, so please don't choose end of term for two reasons. Well, one, it's not really defined for CCRI in our system, last I checked. The second thing is, scheduling out office hours, for the whole semester can be a bit tricky, because students tend to procrastinate. Number one, if they see that they can book an appointment in a month, they probably will book an appointment in a month when they really should be seeing you much sooner. The other thing is, life happens and you might have to change things, and you put out your whole semester and you realize, something is coming up and you already have students booked all the way out there. Now you have to handle that before you can block off those appointments. So I always give the recommendation to put out 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, and I say 3 weeks tops for appointments out there. And as one week is finished, you can add another week on the back end to always have 2 or 3 weeks out there, just to manage your time and to keep track of what is happening. So just recommendation, but again, it's entirely up to you in terms of what you decide to do. So I am going to say I'm going to choose on date, and I'm pleased to end on Friday. So my appointment is pretty much set up. You do have the ability to add instructions on when someone's making the appointment, just to give them some information. Maybe, bring all materials you wish to discuss. Please have your questions ready so we can utilize the time we have together wisely. Just put some instructions in there. Again, entirely what you want to put there. Once I hit submit, these appointments are going to appear in your calendar. So if I were to hit that, Marilyn, these are going to appear in your calendar, and you will receive an email from CCRI in your CCRI account telling you that these office hours have been scheduled for you. So for demonstration purposes, I am going to click submit. I will get rid of all of this for you, Marilyn, so don't worry about it. Just to show you how it shows up in your calendar and how to edit your meeting, how to cancel your appointments, how to delete your appointments, just to give you that all-around sort of feel for scheduling your appointments. So once I hit submit, they're going to populate in your calendar. So I'm just going to say, give me a week view. The agenda is very nice, because if students schedule with you, you will see who's coming in when in the agenda view. The week view gives you the calendar so you can see everything that's happening, and we put your appointments for next week. So I'm going to just hit over here to the right, which brings me to next week, and it shows your appointments on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So let's say you decided, yeah, this is not going to work for me. I don't want to do this time. I want to shorten my day or lengthen my day. You hover over the clock, and then you want to go to edit. Once you click edit, you will see here that the dates are not editable, okay? Because those are pretty much sealed when you schedule your appointments. However, you can change the time. So maybe you say that actually want to start at 9 a.m. and I want to end at 11 instead, but not p.m., but rather a.m. We're committed, but there's a limit. And we put it like that, and we hit submit, and you're going to see that both calendars are going to adjust to meet the new time. Any questions about what I just did?
None.
Okay. So
No.
okay, great. So let's say now we want to cancel your appointments. So you may have a series of appointments that you want to cancel, meaning the entire series, meaning Tuesday and Thursday, or maybe you say, I cannot do Thursday. I could do Tuesday, but I can't do Thursday because, something happens. If that is the case, you want to hover over the clock for Thursday. You want to go down where it says cancel, click on that. It opens up this sub menu, and you want to say just this one. When you click on that, you have a box that comes up. So there are two ways we can do this. Perhaps you have no one scheduled for that day yet, so it makes it a clean delete. So I can just hit submit, and that will delete that. Marilyn, you get an email saying that you canceled those office hours, and now they're off your calendar. Maybe you have a couple students already booked for that time, but you need to cancel those appointments still. You have the ability to write a generic email message here. Do not put the students' names in there. Just say, I'm so sorry, but I have to cancel our appointment due to personal reasons. Please feel free to go back into Starfish and schedule another appointment with me. This will go out to all of the students that were scheduled, but they don't know who got the email. They're thinking they're the only person who received that cancellation. And that's why I'm saying don't put anyone's name in the box to identify the student, because it can be going out to multiple people. So I will hit submit because I don't have any messages I need to send out because no one's booked. I hit submit, and now you're going to see Thursday's gone. I only have Tuesday remaining. Any questions?
None.
Okay. So we know Maryland don't want these appointments, so I'm just going to go in. I'm going to hit that. I'm going to say hover, hit that, and hit entire series.
Tanika,
And you can see
I pop in for a
here.
second?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm just wondering, for both Marilyn and Tony, is this something you think would be useful for you?
Not for me, because I'm only on campus a couple days a week for a couple hours. And usually I just have students email me if they want a conference, and we set it up through email. That's about it.
So I think the idea for this is, I mean, that's totally fine if that works for you, and there's no, that's 100% fine. I think the idea for this is if you wanted to make schedulable blocks for those days that you're already on campus, you could do that and make that communication a little bit smoother for you, perhaps. And then, as it was noted, that if you wanted to set up appointments virtually, that you could give them those choices, right? So the days you're on campus, you give them the option of booking space on campus, and the days that you're not, you might do it,
Okay. Well, to be honest with you, I
may use this. So, I'm happy to have the information. So,
Okay. I guess for
I
Tony,
can
just to
possibly-
build off of what Karen is saying, it really streamlines that communication with you and the student, because I don't know.
Huh? I'm losing the audio here. I don't know why. Oh,
she's gone.
I don't know, her audio went weird. That was very
yeah, the
strange.
audio went weird.
So, oh, and I'm reconnecting too. That's kind of weird. The whole thing seems to go just kind of momentary glitch.
Yeah,
I
thought it
so
was
Marilyn,
me.
you were saying- Marilyn, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, and you were saying that this is not useful for you, or would be useful for you, or?
No, I think it might be useful for me, and I just like to have all the information anyway.
Sure,
So,
absolutely.
I want to use it in another. Oh, it says, oh, you can't reconnect. Try to rejoin the session.
That's bizarre because it's telling me the same thing and yet you can hear me. I'm kind of afraid.
I'm just gonna click on reload the session and see what happens.
All right. Tanika, are you still there? Oh, all right. We can see your screen now. Oh, and she left. That's weird.
Okay, I seem to be back.
I see that you're back, and I oddly see that Tanika is sharing information, but we also can't hear her. I wonder if she knows that. Says she's got no connection, but it says at appointment. I'm confused. Maybe that's just catching up to what she was doing before. All right, so I'm just going to add audio for what I think she's doing, which is in addition to setting up office hours, if you had specific appointments that you wanted to make sure were reflected on your calendar, you can set up an individual appointment with a specific student, and it uses those same locations that you would have set up in your when you've been setting up the office hours.
Mhm. Okay. Okay, so this is,
There you
where are
go.
my students? Okay,
Right, because she's still logged in as you.
she's still logged in as me. Oh, that second student and third student I need to get in touch with anyway.
Oh,
Just thinking about her this morning. It said, now it says, uh-oh, you're disconnected.
I think she's finally figured out there she comes. Now she's going back.
Okay, now should I click on this thing that says reconnect? Oh,
Where? Oh no, that's her screen.
oh
She's
that's
sharing
her. Oh, that's her screen. That's right. Duh.
Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
That's all right. We're glad to have you back. I don't know what happened
Okay.
either. We all seem to glitch out for a second.
Yeah, I have solid internet connection, so I'm not sure what happened. All right, so I'll jump back in. I was doing some
I was
really good stuff, you
narrating your
guys.
actions. I don't know if you saw that. I was narrating for you.
Oh, good. All right, let me share my screen again. Let's pop back in here. Can you see Starfish again?
Not yet. Oh, here it comes.
Oh, here it is. Yep.
Okay. All right. So what I was saying here, I think the last thing you heard was we're doing the appointment now. So when would you use an appointment? Is simply when a student cannot, your office hours are not working for a student, but you're willing to accommodate them on a different day. You don't necessarily want to schedule a whole new group of office hours. You want to give that student an appointment. So that's when you would use the appointment feature in Starfish to get that student in. So let's say, for example, one of your students, Marilyn, which everyone's going to be listed here from every class that you're teaching this semester, needed to make an appointment with you. You just select the student. Simply, you put in the date that you're going to be meeting with them. You put in the start and time for that meeting. So let's say it's going to be 9 a.m. to 9:20. You choose your location. You say Zoom. You have the reason, and you say the student want to discuss prior coursework, and you can say specifically what course they're coming in for, right? And once you hit in the detailed description, you have the ability to tell the student, please be prepared to discuss whatever the topic is going to be. have them just, have their materials ready so they're not looking for it when they meet with you. Once you hit submit, the student is going to get an email notifying them of this appointment that you scheduled with them, and you get an email saying that you scheduled this appointment, and it's, it all lives in Starfish, and it will also live in your Outlook calendar. So that is a difference between using appointments versus office hours. Office hours are predetermined times that you are available to meet with students. An appointment may be a student that you're meeting just randomly. Their schedule don't work with your schedule and you want to accommodate them. So you give them a time outside of your regular office hours. Any questions about that?
No,
No.
this would work. This is Tony. That would work all right with me. That would be
Yeah.
pretty. I could use that.
Okay. The other piece I wanted to tell you about is reserve time. So let's say, for example, you had a group of appointments that I did for Marilyn earlier, and let's say you cannot make you can make some of the appointments, but there's a particular time that you cannot have anyone booked for. So you have two options. You can go in and change the block of time to exclude that time, or you can simply put a reserve time over that area. So again, really better a show than a tell. So let me do this quickly for you. So I'll say Friday, let's say you had appointments from 9 a.m. to noon, and it was going to be Zoom and 15 minutes. That's fine, that's fine. And we want to change this end date.
So is it fair to say this would be most helpful if you were not doing the integration with Outlook?
Well, yes. See, yes and no to that question, simply because not many people use Outlook. I realize at the college is a small number of people. But for those who use it, instead of having to manage their calendar in Outlook and then go into Starfish and sort of block off that time, integrating it creates a streamline between the Outlook calendar and the Starfish calendar. So you're only managing, so anything you put in your Outlook calendar saying that you're not available, you will not be able to book any office hours in Starfish, if that answers the question.
Yes.
But if you're not using Outlook, then it's a moot point. You don't need to worry about that.
Right.
So for this person here, I pop in on date is going to end on the same date just for demonstration purposes. I hit submit. These hours are going to be billed for, hold on. Let me just do this to save this.
So Marilyn, this would be good for you during dress rehearsal and play season, right? Like here's the 2 weeks that you cannot schedule a time with me.
Right. So here and here,
Yes.
I hit this. So now, Marilyn, you will see that I have these appointments here. So let's say, for example, I realized that between 11, so my last 4 appointments I cannot make, right? So 11 to, let's say to noon, just to block off everything. I cannot make these appointments. So instead of having to go and edit this, you can simply say reserve time, and I am going to say, I'm just going to leave meeting there, but you can put whatever title you want. I'm going to say I booked that for the 25th, and I'm going to say from 11 to noon. And what you're going to see here, and I added to my calendar, you're going to see that it's going to be blocked off. Okay? So now no one is seeing those remaining times. I have just reserved them and I blocked them off so students cannot take them. So they can only book from 9 a.m. to that 10:45. They can book appointments. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so that's how you would use the reserve time very quickly instead of having to edit anything. So let me take this out of your calendar. So entire series, take that out. And I can also get rid of that reserve time, which again, cancel that, submit, and now all of that has been taken out of your calendar. So clean slate, we're all set. Any questions about the calendar before we move to students?
No.
Okay. So
Tamika,
back to the hamburger. Yes,
can you show them the services first and then the students?
absolutely.
Services screen? Because I wanted
Yes.
to make the point that in your, go ahead while you go there, but one of the reasons why there's a link to Starfish in every Blackboard shell is not only to make that easier for you, but it provides this one-stop shop for students. So don't hide it.
Yeah. So Karen, and thank you for pointing that out. So when students log into Starfish, they automatically land on this page. Above this will usually be all of their classes are listed for what they're taking for the semester. But it does create this one-stop shop location where students, and Marilyn, I'm using your view because every faculty staff member has the services option that which can be found right here, but you can't interact with it the way a student can interact with it. But it's good information for you to have in case a student's asking you a question you may not know the answer to. So students, once they log into their Starfish account, they see right away that they can schedule an appointment with an academic coach. Maybe they need to go to advising. Maybe they need some community resources. So that's Shona Wells, our social worker. Maybe they have um, housing issues, food insecurity, transportation issues. They have the ability to go straight to Starfish and schedule an appointment to meet with her one-on-one so she can assist them. You can also do career services if the student wants to schedule with someone there just to figure out, what path they want to pursue in life. Their appointments are also up there. If the student needs to contact disability services to schedule with them, they will have the ability to get that information. So with all of these services, they are clickable. So if I click on advising, you will see, and I think this is good for all of us because we have the ability now to know what we each other look like when we're passing each other in the future on campus. So you can see everyone that belongs to advising, all of the advisors, right? You also have the ability here to, see academic coaches. They're all listed as well. If you're wondering, who works in financial aid, we have the financial aid folks there. So students have all of this information. And, two key components here, if we go to financial aid first, you have the ability to contact any one of these individuals because their email address is in here. You have the phone number for that area, and you also can go to the website, right? So you have all of this information readily available, and students can find what they're looking for. So this is very useful, and this is the one-stop shop that we're trying to get really up and running at CCRI to promote information. I can't tell you how many times a student will sit in advising, and we're generally busy all the time, for an hour to simply ask us, oh, I just came to get a copy of my transcript. Now they sat for an hour only for us to tell them, yeah, that's downstairs at enrollment services. So having the ability and students utilizing this software more, they would learn if I want to get my transcript, I need my transcript for myself or to be mailed to college, you don't go to advising for that. You go to the records office, which is in enrollment services. So it tells you right here to request a copy of your transcript. Click here. So very useful information. So we don't have to keep bouncing students around departments, until, they get where they need to be. So this is going to be very helpful, and telling students about this, all of these services that's in their Starfish account, I think will be very, very helpful with helping them navigate the college and getting comfortable with CCRI. Any questions?
None.
No.
Okay. So let's pop up to the,
Did you both know that was there?
No.
Yes,
So I
All
wanted,
yeah, I
right.
did.
great.
I,
Awesome.
I had always done a lot of this myself anyway. Here are links to all these services for you. Before Starfish.
Right.
So
Exactly. So I
so
think
that's
it's
good.
really,
Now it's all, yeah. Now that it's all in one place, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's it.
Absolutely.
I mean, for someone who, like you and I work together for your online courses, that one of the things that we often do is encourage people to provide all these links and create these connections for students through their online course. And here, you just have to make sure that in your syllabus or course you say, click Starfish, everything you need is there.
Yes.
Right,
Here's my
exactly.
profile.
Yeah.
Here's my face, but here's my link to my profile. And you just have to do that once rather than uploading a profile in every course. So I think there's
Yeah.
some nice efficiencies around just creating connections with students to you and to the institution that Starfish can do.
Right.
Absolutely. And to look at the students that you have access to, and this is very important, and because Starfish is a role and relationship based software, you only have access to the students' information for the semester that they're registered with you. Now, if the student were to take another class with you in the spring, obviously you will have access to their information again. But once the semester is ended, if you don't have another class with that student, then you would no longer have access to that student's information. So just want to get that out there. So the information you're seeing now is strictly because these students are registered in the class for your class, Maryland. So very quickly at a glance, you can see the student's name. Some of them have pictures, some don't, simply because they didn't get their ID in time for the information to be uploaded into Starfish. You can see, name, ID number. You have the ability to see their CCRI email address, their phone number. If you hover over a student, you have the ability to raise flags, which we are going to talk about, send kudos, message a student, which is simply an email. And you can also put a note on the student. You may not utilize a note feature often, but again, you can send an email from Starfish to the student, which goes to their CCRI account. So let's start from left to right with the flags, okay? Because flags are very important. The flags are designed to create this open dialogue across the campus between faculty, staff, and students. So what do I mean by that? So let's say if one of these students, let's click on it. Let's say we're going to start really soft first. Let's say the student was not attending classes or not participating in the class. You have the ability to raise a flag on the student. Now, the flags come in two flavors. We have a completely blank flag where you have the ability to write whatever you wish to the student. You also have the pre-written flag, which is, information, wording that was sort of already pre-written. In the flag, there is an area for you to add a comment in there, but that's all you're doing. Everything else will be going to the student, has been pre-written, and you can have access to all of this information on your MyCCRI under the For Faculty tab. We have an area that gives you a PDF of all the flags, what the flags are saying when they go out to the student, and when do you raise each flag. And if you raise the flag, what happens? So I can tell you, for attendance and participation concerns, that flag is really designed, while advisors can see this information, it's really designed for a dialogue between the student and the professor. Meaning you're telling the student, hey, I realize you haven't been attending classes or you're not really participating. I want you to really, improve on that. Now, why would an advisor see that but not do anything about it? Simply because low-level flag, and it's sent early on to really let students know that you're noticing what they're doing or not doing. Now, if I were to see that same student around the time you raise that flag, I can say, hey, I see that your professor raised a flag in class regarding your attendance. Is there anything we can do to help you? Is there a transportation issue that we can help you with? Maybe get you a bus pass. So it really gives us a conversation to have with a student regarding around the flags that's being raised on the student. Maybe the student, and as faculty members, you do have the ability, if the student is attending more or is participating more, you have the ability to clear the flag from the student's account. So let's say the student has a low quiz or assignment test grade. Again, comes in two flavors, a blank and a pre-written. You choose whichever one you want to use. Again, a dialogue between the professor and the student. It informs the advisor if they were to meet with that student just to have a conversation, probably inform them about tutoring, how to improve on in this area. So again, it really gives us good ammunition to talk to the student more directly about what's going on in their classes instead of these abstract conversations about, hey, how are you doing? And they always say, I'm doing great. Rarely do I have a student sit down in my office and say, I'm not doing well, right? I need help. Mostly, no, I'm passing, everything is going well. And then come the end of the semester, they fail the class. So these flags helps us, as advisors, help students. So raising these flags are very important. Again, low level dialogue between the professor and the student, but the advisor is aware of what's going on. Now, when we're going to swing for the fact students in real trouble, you will raise in danger of a failing flag. That, again, 2 flavors, pre-written and blank. When that flag is raised, is more work to be done. The instructor in this flag, you're required to add a comment saying whether or not this student has a chance of recovering in this class, or is it a lost cause, meaning the student should probably withdraw from the class. And in your comment, you may want to say, at this point in the semester, based on what is happening, you're probably not going to pass the class. I recommend you go to advising and discuss what your options are. And these options are really surrounding how is this going to impact financially, if any at all? How is this going to impact maybe their completion rate when it comes to Rhode Island Promise? So you definitely want to put something in your comment telling the student if they cannot pass, referring them to advising. If they can pass, what can they do to recover from where they're at? So when this flag is raised, this flag is actually assigned to an advisor to reach out to the student, to notify the student, additionally just saying, hey, we see that you may be failing this class. I see that your instructor has written this information. Have you seen it? Are you prepared to do the work? So that's where we step in as advisors when this flag is raised. Any questions about that?
No, none.
No,
Okay.
no, yeah,
So
this is great, because I generally do this with my students anyway. As a matter of fact, on last Friday, I have a relationship with Joyce Ganser because she's coming to my classes to talk to my classes about, academic coaching and, what's available
Yes.
at the Student Success Center. And I had a student who usually if I figure out a way to reach out to them, like 4 or 5 different kinds of ways to get the information that I need from them and to them. And this student was not, I couldn't reach her. I don't mean physically reach her. I just couldn't, she wasn't comprehending anything that I was saying, no matter how I came to it. And so I reached out to Joyce and I said, I'm stumped. Can you help me with this? And she ended up looking at me. So I guess that's what you're going to do next is a referral. But
yes.
I reached out to her and she immediately called the student and talked to the student and then got back to me and said, as you suspected, there are some, issues, blah, 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 whatever. They shouldn't, we didn't go into the nitty gritty of it. But yeah, so this is a great thing to do because I usually do this just myself. If I see that a student isn't, is not doing well on the first few quizzes, I will email them and I will say, blah, 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 what do you think the problem is? Or I'll give them advice on how to, improve their quiz scores or this or that. So this is great that you can raise this flag.
Yes.
First of all, and
absolutely,
it's just because it's all, it's more like it's all in one place and the student can go there. Sometimes they don't always look at their emails.
Right. And we're trying to get it in their DNA so they get used to Starfish and they get the information in Starfish. So while they are being emailed, these flags it also exists in their account so they can see it as well. And you brought up a really good point, Marilyn. So let's roll to that. So actually, before we jump there, I do want to let you know of other flags that you can raise. Sometimes you have a student who is not behaving well in your classroom. You do have the ability to raise a flag for disruptive classroom behavior. This flag is not sent to the student, rather it's sent straight to the Dean of Students. It goes to Michael Cunningham, and Michael Cunningham will reach out to the student to set up an appointment to discuss the issues in the classroom. With this flag, you do have to provide some details about what is going on in the classroom, so Michael is aware and can address the situation accordingly. You also have the academic integrity. If a student is caught cheating, again, you can raise a flag and Michael will address that. The last flag I do want to just highlight for you is the student well-being concern. Sometimes we have students in our classes that just aren't doing well personally, and they may benefit from maybe speaking to the social worker or speaking to a counselor. Raising this flag on the student, again, does not go to the student. Rather, the student will be reached out by someone in that area just to assess them and see how we can assist. So it really streamlines that process by raising these flags. So, as Marilyn mentioned, with referrals, if you have a student that can benefit from tutoring, maybe the writing center or academic coaching, you have the ability to make a referral. So instead of clicking on the flags, you click referrals, and you do have the option to raise an academic coaching flag or a tutoring referral flag or a writing center flag. Again, two flavors for academic coaching and tutoring. There's a blank and there is a pre-written, and you have the ability to provide as much information that will be beneficial for the tutor to see or for the academic coach to see in terms of what the student needs help with. So again, the student will be notified. They were referred. In most situations for the academic coaching, they reach out to the student, and they will also, the tutoring center, the student is, for tutoring, they have to reach out to schedule the appointments. Sometimes they will reach out to the student, but their workflow, I'm not quite sure. We haven't nailed that down firmly yet, but academic coaches do reach out to the students as soon as you've made a referral to them. So they will reach out to the student. The other thing is you are going to have a referral added here for career services. They are working on their language right now for that flag to go live. So if a student can benefit from meeting someone in career services, you'll be able to refer them, and career services plan to reach out to the student. So any referrals they get, they will call the student to schedule an appointment to help them out and help them find direction. So I think that's a really good referral, and to have it so streamlined would be very helpful. So we talked about all of these referrals and the flags, but we also want to recognize good behavior in the classroom. We want to give students kudos. So kudos is like a thumbs up, telling the student that, you've done really well. I recognize your hard work, because, sometimes students feel like they're just a number or just a face in the classroom, and no one really realized, how hard they've worked to turn things around. And I think kudos will be a great opportunity for you to send to a student to recognize their hard work and their improvement. So we have the kudos here. Again, two flavors, blank and pre-written, keep up the good work. And then we have showing improvement, and you use these accordingly to meet your needs. But we want to recognize all aspects of the student. So the next thing we want to look at here is the tracking items, and this simply means any flags you have raised, you can find them all in one location to see what students you raised them on and whether or not they were resolved. So in danger of failing, once an advisor reaches out to the student, the advisor will clear the flag, which will notify you of what the resolution was. But remember, they're not going to put very detailed information because some of it may be very personal. So they will tell you that that they have reached out to the student and the student is all set. Very just basic information. In Starfish, you also have the ability to take attendance. So I know, Marilyn, you have one class this semester, I believe, or is it different? Okay, you have different sections. So as you select the class that you want to view, so if you go over here and you click, the other section of Theater 1090, the students will change. So it will match the class that you're looking at, so you're not making any mistakes across the board. So let's say you wanted to record attendance for your Theater 1090 600 section. You click on record attendance. It's going to ask you, this is online. So for online classes, you may want to create a date where you want to record attendance. So maybe you want to take attendance on Mondays because maybe they should have done their assignment. If they haven't done the assignment, then it counts as an absent, or, you know, you will figure out what you want to do about that. So you can create a meeting time just out of the blue, so you can take attendance that way. Let me see, do you have any synchronous classes?
No.
This might be, oh, no synchronous.
No, oh, well, actually,
Oh, yeah.
my makeup class, I have a
Yes.
lab. Yeah, so
So
they
as
do
you can say here, yeah, so you can see right here that it brings up the date that we're on, which is today, and you have the ability to hit next. And by default, everyone is present. You only have to focus on who isn't there, and you record them
Right.
as absent. And once you've done that, you can save it. If you made a mistake, you can always delete the time and start over. You can go in and edit it, stuff like that. So you have the ability to do that, to take attendance that way. And then last but not least, we're going to have the progress survey. And the progress survey is going to come out, you know, at least twice a semester, where you have the opportunity to really, you know, review all of your students at a glance, you know, who you want to give a thumbs up to, who hasn't been participating or attending, and those you want to make referrals to. You have the ability to make that in a snapshot. Whereas when it comes to outside of the progress survey period, you're going to have to do each student individually. Whereas the progress survey gives you a snapshot of everyone in one shot, and you can do you have access to all of the flags, all of the referrals, and you just literally clicking, click, 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 check boxes, very easy when the progress surveys are out, compared to when you have to do it on an individual basis.
Tanika,
Yes.
you are a rock star. You have done that for 1 hour straight. So I want to be mindful of people's time.
Yes.
And if there's like 30 seconds for anything you absolutely have to share. And then if there's any questions, we can see if people have any questions. But we are officially at time.
Yeah, nothing. I think I covered all of the important things. It's a lot of information to take in at once. So if you need a one-on-one for a specific aspect of Starfish, I'm willing to meet with you one-on-one to go over that. But I would just open it up to any questions that you may have.
Well, thank you. This is very informative, especially in terms of you know, the flags and the referrals and all of that. I generally tend to do all of this, you know, on a personal basis, as I said, you know, get in touch with an academic coach, or what do I want to say, contacting the student, either for, you know, good or ill, you need to step up the game, or you're doing a really great job, you know, that kind of thing. You know, you've really improved, all that kind of stuff. So this puts it all in one place, which is good. My one question is, and I don't know if you have any data on this or any feedback about this, but it seems to me, can tend to be a bit impersonal. How do the students feel about this? Getting information, you know, getting, if I send a kudos, even though I am typing in I guess it's the same thing. I mean,
So,
if I'm typing into the box.
That's a great question. That's a great question. And I think that's why we have changed it to be, you know, pre-written flags and kudos and blank. So it gives you the personal touch to put in your own language to make it more, you know, personal to the student. But for the students I have known who have gotten a kudo, and nursing use this a lot, and students are very happy about being recognized for their good work. So they like it.
Yeah.
They like that they're being recognized for it. So I think it's definitely beneficial. Other colleges who have used it, and I've spoken to our consultant, students are happy about getting these kudos, because sometimes you only contact a student when something bad's happening, right? So having these opportunities, right.
Yeah. No,
So,
please go ahead.
And that's the thing is, I know originally when I was first looking at Starfish, and this is, a while ago, there was no opportunity for, there wasn't a blank one, there was just a pre-written one. And I remember I said something to my chair or something. I said, well, what if I don't want to say that thing. I want to say this other thing that this
Yep.
student, there didn't seem to be any mechanism for that, but now there is, which is great. Right.
That was,
It gives it a more personal touch.
and that's exactly
Absolutely.
why we did it. That change was based directly on feedback from the pilot participants. That there were some folks for whom, if you were doing a large mailing, maybe then the more generic language was sufficient. And for people who wanted to have that, who wanted to take the time to custom their own message, that option was also there. I mean, the generic language includes a place for you to add additional details, but you are kind of stuck with the tone of the bread of the sandwich, so to speak, right? At the beginning and the end of it. And so I think having both options available, as long as people are choosing the one that they are most aware, they're choosing the one they want, it really does allow for that ability to have both that personal connection as well as efficiency.
Right. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, good. I don't have any other questions, I don't think, or comments or whatever. Thank you so much. This is
My
really been
pleasure.
helpful.
Any questions, Tony?
Just one on the progress surveys. Does the college send an alert when they should be done?
Yes, great question. So what we will do is we try to send out an email a week before the progress surveys are released, telling you that the progress surveys are coming out. Please review this video to learn how to complete the progress survey, to give you some time in case you have questions. You have time to reach out to me so I can teach you how to do it. And then we will send the day of the progress survey, it's released. We will tell you that the progress survey is now live. You can go and review your students, and then we will send you a reminder if you haven't completed your progress surveys to remind you to complete your progress surveys. So we do keep you informed on what's going on.
I can see how this can work very well even with an adjunct, because this really keeps you in touch with your students much more
Yes.
than two courses a week, 2 classes a week.
Well,
So,
and I think particularly for part-time faculty who may also be teaching at other places, it helps keep all your communications for this school in this location, right? You can manage all your messaging, keep track of who you emailed, know which school they're attached to, all those kind of real experiences of when you're part-time at more than one institution. It can get pretty challenging figuring out remembering all the names from all the institutions every term.
I think it's just new and to get comfortable with it. And I think once you're comfortable with it, you'll find it very beneficial.
And so as faculty, you can get to it either from within a Blackboard shell if you're using that, or you can log in directly from the homepage, from that little drop down that has your email.
Absolutely. And from your MyCCRI, once you get in there, it's located under the For Employees tab as well as the For Faculty tab.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've seen it used in the Blackboard. Well, I've taken courses online with the Blackboard, and yeah, you can put the Starfish thing in so that they have access right there when they go into Blackboard when they're looking for their work. So
and really, honestly, don't try to eat the sandwich in one bite. If there's something you want to start with, just taking attendance in Starfish, you can use it for that. It is a lot of information. If you want to start with tracking, maybe you want to start with a couple of things, don't try to just learn everything at once. You want to just take it piece by piece and do what you're comfortable with. I mean, I would honestly say if you're taking attendance in Blackboard, it is going to come through into Starfish. I think the tracking is very important because it keeps students on their toes, so they know accurately how they're performing in the classroom, and they don't have this imagination that they're doing better than they are. So it really keeps them and you want to keep them on point, but it also helps advising, stay on top of students as well, to keep them honest and keep them moving forward, because the more information we have, the better able we are to assist students when we see them.
The big problem is to go into the program. I mean, some of them don't even look at their grades at the end of the semester.
Right.
They don't know if they passed or failed. So,
So
Right, that is true.
Yep.
I
And
don't
so
know how we can work on that as a college to get them to go to their email. How many times can you tell them to do it when they don't do it? I mean, I've had a student who took my class for a second time and they passed it the first time and didn't realize they were taking it again for nothing. So
Oh my gosh.
Yes, that's happened to me too.
they don't.
Really?
And I had to say to them, you've already taken this class and you got a B in it. May I just ask why you're taking it again? And, oh,
Yeah, it was crazy.
yeah.
I found this out maybe the fourth week of the class. You know,
Oh.
she didn't even realize she was using the same books or. I
Oh
don't
gosh.
Oh God. And on that note, anyway.
No, I definitely recognize. I do agree with that. I think as a college as a whole, we need to push more in terms of getting students to recognize the official means of communication is your CCRI email address, and really try to drive that home. And we're trying to, get Starfish awareness, especially with the new students. Getting them introduced to that very early on to understand the benefits of it. I think we did a really good job, transitioning from the spring, because what we did was for advising and for new student registration, we had students go into Starfish and schedule an appointment with an advisor. So new students who are just out of high school, they got introduced right away to Starfish. So that was a really, I know COVID is horrible, but it really allowed us to have students go directly into Starfish very first day to schedule appointments and see what is out there. And that was a great introduction for those students.
See, I'm going on, but that's why I think every student who comes new to CCRI should have a formal orientation, and all these things should be discussed and tried out and practiced during that orientation, so that they know what's going on. When you say, okay, go to Blackboard, and they look at me and say, what's Blackboard?
Right.
Yeah. Amen, brother. I've been saying that since I first got here. Like, why isn't there this overall orientation?
There is an organization.
But that's what it needs to be. Yeah. That's
So,
the issue.
in the past, orientation was mandatory, and then there was a switch where it was optional, and I think we might be circling back to where we started to make orientation mandatory, because what would happen in the past if a student did not attend orientation, they had a hold on their account.
Yeah.
And they couldn't register, forcing them to come. And then for some reason we moved away from that. I'm not sure why, but I think we're going to be circling back, because as you pointed out, we need to get this information to them so they know how to navigate better at the college when they first get here.
Right. I can remember when I went to Rhode Island College, my freshman year, and this is back in the late 60s, I hate to say, but we had about 2 or 3 days that we were on campus before college started, and they went through this is this and where everything was and what you were responsible for and everything. So and especially